Are barristers right to refuse to prosecute eco-warriors? 0207 862 2222 is the number. Give us a call. A group of more than 100 top lawyers are signing up to a so-called declaration of conscience. They say they will refuse their services in prosecutions of protesters from groups like Just Stop Oil and Extinction Rebellion. So that includes the groups who've been blocking the M25 and gluing themselves to the roads. But critics say that undermines the independence of the legal profession, and it goes against the convention that everyone is entitled to fair legal representation. So, Nina, let's start with you. What do you think? Well,
on the face of it, it would seem quite wrong. But on the other hand, I'm looking at the people who are about to sign this declaration. It's 120, apparently, approximately. And it's not just a bunch of sort of, you know, millennial sort of enthusiastic climate change, you know, activists. It's not just that. For instance, you've got Sir Geoffrey Bindman, KC, chairman of the British Institute of Human Rights. You've got Jolyon Morm, founder of the Good Law Project. And it does go against all of the sort of the principles of that part of the legal system, and that it's the first cab on the rank thing. So, you know, you take whatever case there is. But, you know, we're at the stage now in terms of climate change. We're in the kind of the real last chance saloon.
So you think they're right to do this?
I think they are.
Right, what do you think, Esther?
Oh, I completely disagree. But look, I do believe they have the right to withdraw their services, as anyone does. I do think you politicize your own career to your detriment. And look, at the end of the day, these are people that are in a luxurious position to be able to turn down work. Because at the end of the day, there will be barristers that will take up this case that don't have the luxury of being able to turn down work. You mentioned the high-profile QCs that have signed this. Well, they're very wealthy. They don't really struggle for work. But I think the bigger problem is the message that it's sending. If you think that a bunch of unemployed, idle hobbits gluing themselves to roads and stopping normal, hard-working people from getting to work, if you think that's a legitimate and credible cause against climate change, then, you know, they're as ignorant as the people they're refusing to represent, and which is fine. OK, let's go to one of the barristers who signed the petition, Paul Powlesland. Hi, Paul.
Good morning. Morning.
So, yeah, morning to you. You won't prosecute people you think are innocent, so presumably you also won't defend people you think are guilty.
Well, I actually don't do criminal law, so I don't do either of them at the moment. And actually, our declaration is twofold. It's about not prosecuting climate protesters, but also not acting for fossil fuel firms who will expand fossil fuel production when we know that will lead to mass loss of life and death over the coming decades and century. So there's a twofold part of the declaration. Right. And for me, as a civil barrister, the second one is almost more important. But I also have signed up for the first as well. Right. Well, yeah, and I will stick by that.
Well, OK, that's why I'm asking you. So let's just go back. In principle, you think it's OK to say, I will not prosecute people I think are innocent. Is that right?
It's not about whether they're innocent or guilty. It's about whether they should be prosecuted in the current system. And I think we have to ask ourselves, who should be in the dock here? Should it be people who are peacefully trying to draw attention to the greatest crisis that we face? Or should it be the fossil fuel execs who are knowingly taking a course of action that will lead to the deaths of millions of people in the global south over the coming decades? And more people are realizing actually it should be the fossil fuel execs who should find themselves in the dock, not peaceful protesters.
Well, Esther, he makes a, you know, he's thought it through. You'd expect that of a barrister. What do you say to him? That
is a disingenuous argument to say that these people are peacefully protesting, because if it was peaceful, it wouldn't be against the law. There's nothing peaceful about gluing yourself to the M25 and thinking that you can't cause serious damage.
Well, it's not violent, is it?
No, but the thing is, you can cause a loss of life. You can cause car accidents. People are just trying to get on with their normal lives. They're not unemployed hobbits that have the luxury of gluing themselves to public buildings. It's not innocent. But here's the thing. If you believe,
hobbits.
They are hobbits. They're hobbits. No, but here's the argument. If you genuinely believe,
I also have been on protest, so you're calling me a hobbit too.
I think she is. Yeah,
I am actually. But here's.
I'm also not unemployed though. I also.
Well, but you are clearly very privileged to turn down work, because if you don't take up the barrister work, someone else will. So if you think you're making a difference, you're really not. You're just turning down work, which is fine.
Let Paul answer. Let Paul answer.
So I mean, I wouldn't say privileged. I actually earn probably one of the least amounts at the bar because I choose to take cases on issues that are important to me and actually that do good for the world, rather than just taking any case that I can get paid the most amount of money for, like many people at the commercial bar representing the fossil fuel industry, who earn probably 10 times what I do. in order to take money from the fossil fuel industry, directly causing the deaths of people in the global south.
Let's take a call. Paul, stay with us. Take a call. I mean, obviously, the word hobbit we won't use again for the time being, unless things really escalate. Stan in Manchester, hi.
Hi, Jeremy.
What do you think? So we've got a barrister here who wouldn't, if asked, prosecute a climate protester. What would you say to him?
Well, nobody should be above the law. These people, they don't just block traffic, they cause criminal damage by painting the walls of buildings repeatedly. And also, these are repeated offenders. So you've got to prosecute them, otherwise you just keep doing it again and again and again.
Paul's made the point here, the planet is burning. It's like arguing about you can't break a window to jump out of a burning house. Yes, you can.
It's rubbish what he's saying. Basically, there's already they're having electric cars, for instance. They're trying to convert our boilers. We have smokeless stones. There's enough energy efficiency going on. We don't need all this eco-warrior.
We're doing enough, Paul. We don't need any more.
The IPCC report this week has given the final warning to humanity that either we drastically change our political, legal and economic systems or we face catastrophe. That warning has been given by scientists. It is very clear. And in the context of that warning, people peacefully trying to stop this crisis are not the ones who should be in the dock. It should be the fossil fuel executives who are causing this crisis.
I am curious,
and
why
who will lead to the collapse, not only lead to death, but also lead to the collapse of the rule of law. I believe in the rule of law.
That's fine. I'm very curious why then you still practice as a lawyer. Why don't you just become a full-time Greta Thunberg, imitation act?
Because I believe there is a great power in the law, and I actually do believe in exercising both. A couple of weeks ago, I wrote a legal advice saying that it was illegal to chop down a tree, and the police ignored that advice and went to arrest protesters, and I climbed the tree to stop them doing it because I believed in my advice. And actually, so I am willing to do both as a barrister, and I believe there is a great power, that lawyers have a great power to affect change,
Okay. Well,
and we have a hugely privileged position in the society, so we should use that.
Hang on, Esther, hang on. Let's just get Ian in Suffolk. Hi, Ian, you agree with Paul?
I do, absolutely. When is the government going to wake up and smell the coffee? They keep putting prices up on everything, and this is the only way we can get back at them, by protesting. That gentleman there speaks a lot of truth.
Yeah, but he's not protesting against price inflation. He's
No, it's general inflation.
No,
yeah, but that's not what he's doing. He's protesting. He wants to be able to protest against the damage to the planet. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
Paul, what happens if somebody throws tomato soup at a Van Gogh and there's no glass on it? You don't think they should be...
They should be checked before they go in.
They should be checked for soup. OK. Paul, what happens if somebody throws tomato soup at a Van Gogh and there's no glass on it?
I mean, that would probably be criminal damage.
Right.
And the key question, of course, is whether the action is justified by the greater context. And we're talking here about road blocking and that kind of thing. And you mentioned earlier, Jeremy, exactly the point. It is not criminal damage to break down the door to go into a burning building to rescue someone. And that necessity defence should apply in the current context, given the seriousness of the crisis that we face. And even more interestingly, you may have heard that a judge in a London Crown Court, Silas Reed, is refusing to let peaceful protesters even refer to the climate crisis in court, and has actually put people in jail for mentioning the climate crisis in court. So that is the context we find ourselves in.
Right.
And in a system where it's clearly stacked against peaceful protesters, and where they are being prosecuted when they shouldn't be, because other people should be being prosecuted, I'm willing to put my career on the line and take a stand to say, oh, I will not prosecute them, and I will not assist the expansion of fossil fuel projects.
Thank you very much, Paul. Barrister explaining the case of the barristers, and we'll talk more on this. Are they right, some of them, to say we're not going to prosecute the eco-warriors who throw the soup or block the motorways? 0207 862 2222. We'll see you shortly.